I wanted to do a video on my Bronco here. I've had it going on almost 2 years, but I just clicked over 30,000 miles on it, and I kind of wanted to talk about everything that I've experienced since I've owned it. I've had 3 recalls. One of them was a child safety lock mechanism, which all they did is just make sure that it worked. And what they did on that is they just ended up going in here, and inside here there's this little deal. They turned the child safety lock on, and they made sure that it worked. That was one of them. The other one was this recent one with the seat belt, and that one was pretty dang lame. They actually added this little plastic clip here to keep the seatbelt buckle up high like that. Overall, you can see the seats are not torn or anything. A little bit of a wrinkle developed there, and the bolster's holding up pretty good. I can hear a little bit of the spring when I get out, but not every time. And then I've changed some things on it. I put these bigger cup holders and whatnot. I like those. Steering wheel has gotten shiny, and I clean it, but it gets shiny again real fast. I've had, it seems like if you notice the windows go up and down, those seem to still work just fine. When the top folds back, if you don't make sure that it's folded nicely, I've got a tear here, a little tiny nick, and then over on this side, there's one right here. So it seems to be kind of in the same spot. And then the dash is held up just fine. No problems there. One problem I had, one time I was driving it, and center screen just went black on me, and I just ended up just unplugging the battery and then plugging the battery back in after a few minutes, and it came back on. I haven't had any problems since. The only other problem I've had was I was on a trip to Seattle, which is about 250 miles there and back, all in one day, and the brake light turned on for some reason. It just said check brake system, and the brake light was on. I went out the next morning, and it actually had turned off, and I haven't seen it come back on at all. I put a little bit bigger cubby in here, but all the plugs are still working. Again, that one changed there. I do wish it had the rubber floors. It's got the carpet in it, but it's held up good. No problems. Paint's been holding up good. Still nice and glossy. Got a couple chips here and there, but that's pretty much to be expected. They're even hard to find. I know there's one, some right here, but my tires do stick out a little bit because of these zero offset wheels. And I've been rotating in the spare, so I got these tires when they were pretty much, when the rig was brand new, and they still got a lot of life left on them. So that's over 30,000 miles, and they're still looking good. Just rotating in that spare. Lights are all working good. As far as the soft top, I showed you those 2 spots, but I have had one clip break right here. And that was a friend of mine broke it. Probably his fault. And then I had another one over here. The whole piece kind of like, it's missing the back part to it. They're supposed to cover it under warranty. But that, I went through stinking this Ford dealer that's slow. I don't want to badmouth them. And so the back's holding up. Put this cover in when it was brand new, so it's been holding up good. Then I put these covers on the back of the seat. They're all right. There's a couple spots where it like peeled up, but they're made by Mobette, and so they're not like Ford or nothing. But overall, the soft top doesn't leak at all. Ran it through car washes and whatnot, and no problems there. I'll show you the engine. I did put this DV8 front bumper on it, and a Ford Raptor grille, winch, and a 20-inch light bar. It's a rough country. The water's penetrated it, unfortunately. So here's the motor. I had changed the oil every 5,000 miles just to stay on top of it. As you can tell, it's staying pretty clean. We don't have salted roads or anything around here, so the aluminum still looks good. There's the turbo down there. I did have one other situation where, I don't know if when I checked it or whatever, but the dipstick was popped up like that, and there was a bunch of oil on the hood. I was like, oh geez, blow by. But it must have, they checked it and they said that it was normal and it runs perfect. And that was, 10, 12,000 miles ago. So I haven't had any problems there. And surprisingly, the brakes still have a lot of meat on them. So the brakes have held up really good. And then I got my big wires I've added for the winch. And then I also added, sorry about that WeatherTech hood protector. It's got the 3.5-inch rough country lift, which I've been really happy with. I didn't spend a ton of money on it. I think it was like $600-700. Came with the upper control arm. That was what made it worth it. Some spacers, and then it adjusted the panhard bar back here. There was a bracket. Overall, transmission's still working great. I noticed a little bit under here. I took it into Ford and they said that's sweating, and they said that it's normal because it's not dripping, but I don't know. Kind of lame how you can see oil around the diffs. It's almost like it's just seeped out of the edges. Stock exhaust, I've kept it all stock. I did add that hitch, that's a rough country hitch, but Ford wiring. And let's see, the only other issue that I've really come across is the key. I added these little Mobette pockets that go in the center. I just kind of throw the key down here because it has to be pretty close to the start stop button, either in your right pocket or down there. So somewhat close, otherwise it doesn't recognize the key, which is kind of weird. And then, but the rest, it's been holding up good. As you can see, I do keep it clean and I take good care of it and keep it maintained, so that's a big part of it. Let me think if I can think of anything else here. Had one chip in the windshield. I had that filled, so you can't really even tell that it's there. But overall, I've been happy with how the paint's been holding up. And I added that Bronco emblem on the side. And that's about it. But just so that everybody knows, here I am almost 2 years in and 30,000 miles. And it's been relatively flawless, other than the little computer glitch on the center screen. The infotainment screen went black that one time, and then that long trip when the brake light turned on for some reason, it said check brake system. Like I said, I turned it off the next day and never turned back on, so must have just been a hiccup. But the engine's been perfect, transmission's been perfect, doesn't do anything funky. Paint's holding up well, soft top is holding up pretty well, and I open it all the time. And I think that's about covers it. But let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and I'll be glad to answer them. And consider subscribing if you like this kind of content. I got all kinds of crazy cars around here, and I'm restoring this FJ40, and I got a 40th anniversary 4Runner. I haven't done any videos on it. And I have this 1986 Toyota truck. There's the other half on the, I'm redoing it to do a Back to the Future throwback truck. But what's cool is this is a turbo truck, and it's factory turbo. So if you look in the gauge, it's turbo. Pretty cool, but you can follow along. I've done a couple videos on that one. And I do have another Bronco too that I bought last year. And I know I like cars, but the other one's a 22. It has 11,000 miles on it. It's been great too. But let me know if you have any questions. Have a good one.